Good Friday evening to everyone, and welcome to the update tonight. Day number 149. We're going to be looking a little bit specifically at Moldova tonight. A few reasons for that. We're going to be talking about grain. Quite a bit of stuff to go tonight, and we will get rolling on it. So thank you all for being here. Welcome, and it is much appreciated. As always, thank you, Jeffrey, for your work in the moderation, and Ricochet is always checking my thumbnail. It's 2 times now that's happened, and for sure tonight it was right. YouTube must be glitching. So, but anyway, Ricochet, thank you for catching me on that, and we've got everything ready to go. See all of you jumping in here and saying hello. I did see your question there. We're going to talk about the Army tactical missile systems. I hear warplanes on the evening news from Don Gentilini. Yeah, it's in talks, and we're hearing different rumblings from different nations, but nothing official yet. Appreciate you liking the shirt. This is actually from my mother, and if you want to know the truth, I actually have the shorts to match. They're pink down here. So, my mother taking care of me. So, anyway, you know how it is. You guys get older. Your moms get sentimental. Yes, I'm married and kids, but mom still buys me shirts. So, there we are, and we're ready to roll. Thank you guys for being here. Full night, and we're going to jump right to it. I want to start, currently, these are the air raid warnings that are happening throughout Ukraine. You can see the different oblasts there from Sumy. I'll just translate from the English for you, but Sumy, Poltava, Cherkasy, Kryvyi, Mykolaiv, Odessa, that's all on the left line, moving over to Dnipropetrovsk, Kharkiv, Zaporozhye, Donetsk, and Lugansk. Of course, Kherson is completely occupied. Once again, I've put the line across there. That is my line. If you were to go way back in the streams, this is the line I've called pretty much from day one. I think if the war comes to a place where an agreement is made, territory is stolen, and Ukraine is unable, West doesn't jump in, NATO doesn't jump in, and Ukraine has to back down. If we get to that point, that's not what we're believing for. We're believing for victory and going to do everything we can to support that. But I think this is the line that Russia wants, minimum, and that is from up there at Sumy straight across Ukraine into that Transnistria region. And just kind of interesting tonight that is where the air raid sirens are hitting right now. Now today, 3 major places were struck very hard: Kharkiv, Dnipro, and Mykolaiv. And I drew the red line there across the front lines. It's nonstop shelling and strikes, and there is ground movement in the east. Now, we know that the major battle that is coming is going to be in the Donetsk Oblast to finish it off, and that will be Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. We're going to look at that a little closer in just a moment. Now, I want to show you guys this. This is the strike in Dnipro today. Is that beautiful or what? That is a school, university there in Dnipro, a complex. And you have to understand, like in Ukraine and Eastern Europe and even Russia, many times it's school complexes are not like here in the United States. For example, when you think of a university here, let's just pick one. University of Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia. Beautiful. Thomas Jefferson campus. It spreads out for miles in this building, and you drive way over here to the other side of town for another part of the campus. That's really not what it's like in Ukraine, Russia, and a lot of Eastern European countries. It's not huge spread out campuses. It's a couple of buildings and full education system, but a lot of the things that our universities offer, the extracurricular, the sports, all of the kind of programs that run alongside, they're not there. They have complexes like this, and they're educated. Why am I showing you this? Because this beautiful building just completed in Dnipro, and COVID hit, was being used lightly. This was finished in 2020, is now absolutely destroyed. This is the outside street view. You can see the yellows at the bottom. This was the strike and what was taken out. You can see it right there in the town of Dnipro, but this is the overhead look. Once again, we see that the targets are the schools. Now, Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, this is a look close into the eastern side there. We know this well. In the black circle, Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. They are going to be probably battle names that go down in history. Battle of the Bulge, Okinawa. I think this battle right here, remember, these two are sister cities, not far from each other at all. Between the two cities, 300, 350,000. These are big. It's a big area. It's very strategic. It's vital to Eastern Ukraine. And I think, and it's not just me, I'm going to show you something. Here you go.
Поблизу лінії фронту, неподалік міста Слов'янськ, українські військові готуються поцілити у позиції росіян. Вони знають, що наступна битва буде вирішальною.
Я думаю, що наступною великою метою для росіян є Слов'янськ.
Як ви думаєте, ви можете їх зупинити?
Ми їх зупинимо.
Вибухи артилерії – знайомі звуки цієї війни. Але є й тихіший, важче помітний бій із залученням безпілотників і засобів електронної боротьби.
У росіян є багато всього, щоб блокувати дрони, блокувати сигнали з пульту управління і так далі.
Це також небезпечна гра у піджмурки, як ми незабаром з'ясували.
Ми чуємо якийсь звук літака. Нам сказали,
українські солдати сказали, щоб ми сховалися під деревами. Росіяни літають над цими позиціями, намагаються помітити, де вони.
Ми підтвердили 3-4 міномети, 1 танк, може до сотні бійців і 5-6 боєприпасів. Тож маємо непогані результати, як для 10 бійців.
Росіяни не просто стежать за їхніми безпілотниками, вони також намагаються глушити зв'язок. Але американські технології допомагають це подолати. В іншому секретному місці тут використовують один із 1000 терміналів Starlink, надісланих Ілоном Маском.
А зараз ми просто захищаємо західні цінності отут. І модернізація або наповнення нас якісною зброєю в першу чергу наближує мир у вас, в Британії, в тому числі.
So there you can see it. It's logical, folks. You don't have to be a military genius to know this one. You just have to pay attention, and that's something we've done for 149 days. Slavyansk and Kramatorsk gonna be the battle. Kramatorsk, I've spent much more time in Kramatorsk than I have in Slavyansk. Also down below Kramatorsk is the town of Konstantinovka. I've spent much time there. I've been to Bakhmut. But most of my time has been spent in Kramatorsk when I've been out that far east. And what can you say? Wonderful people, hospitable, Ukrainian, love their city, love their country, kind, generous, and getting ready to face war on a very large scale, and it's very, very sad. And that is why we're doing the best we can. Now, I know that we get a lot of news from different places, and that's awesome. I recommend definitely checking the international sites when you're looking to get a little bit more accurate information in regard to what's happening, especially internationally. And even if you go to some respected foreign sites and it's in a foreign language, just go and Google and translate it. I highly recommend it, and I have a good list that I believe are fairly accurate. But here's something that Ukraine is even having to back up on. I've been sitting on this one because Zhenya told me to sit on it, but about last 48 hours, a lot of rejoicing going on that 2,000 Russian soldiers were surrounded there, and this is just in the Kherson area where Ukraine had done a movement. They were able to get in behind and surround 2,000 Russian soldiers. Then the number went to 1,000 Russian soldiers surrounded. Well, the truth is, and I hate to say it, but we tell the truth here, 0 Russian soldiers were surrounded. And this one actually made it to mainstream news. And the reality is that did not happen. Ukraine is making a good push. They're having some success. But 2,000 soldiers have not been surrounded. So when you're looking up things, it's like talking about the grain deal we're going to talk about in just a moment. We wait for the confirmation. I got burned early a couple of times early in the war, and I learned quickly from my mistakes. We do not make those in here. We make sure, and even after making sure, if we have to back up, we will back up and make it straight. USA declines to supply Ukraine with ATACMS, stands for Army Tactical Missile Systems. These are the big boys that would be used like in the HIMARS systems that could reach out to 300 kilometers. I have a problem with this. I think it is a major mistake, and I completely disagree with this strategy. And basically, it just shows that there's a lot of fear. So we're going to give you enough weapons to get you killed, but we're not going to supply you with the weapons that can win the war. I know right now we're happy with what the HIMARS and the M270s are doing. They are smoking it. We're very happy. Our drones doing an amazing job. In fact, I'm going to show you something in a second. This is really drone warfare. A whole new world, because even the technology with drones has developed and advanced so much, even since Afghanistan and Iraq. It's crazy what they are doing with these drones. But choosing not to give weapons that could turn the tide in the war, to me, it's not only a sign of weakness, but it's also a sign that the United States and other nations are not really committed to defeating Russia. I really believe they want just to get to some type of stalemate, in line. Russia takes some territory, goes home, and Ukraine has to deal with it. That's what else can we assume? You see, here's the deal. If Ukraine was to get these missile systems that could reach 300 kilometers, then the Kerch Bridge is spot in the zone of being able to be hit. And the Kremlin, Medvedev directly threatened Ukraine in the West that if the Kerch Bridge was hit, that they would respond with, remember, Judgment Day. So what do? We tremble in our boots. Listen, sometimes the only way you can deal with a bully is to slap them in the face. Zelensky has said it, others have said it, and very sorry. Hopefully things change in regard to that. Now, Russia today expanded. This is the document direct from the Kremlin where they expanded their unfriendly list. So today, Greece, Denmark, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Croatia are rejoicing. Why? Because they have been placed on the unfriendly list of Russia. Now, here we are, July the 22nd. It is 9:17 p.m. Eastern. I am 100% live, 4:17 a.m. in Ukraine, 6:17 in California. And you guys know, whether you are here watching in America or you are in some other country, we thank you for being here. You know that it's getting close to time for school. What does that headline say? It says Ukraińskie szkoły nie gotowe do навчання offline. What does that mean? Only 11% of schools are able to do online education in Ukraine. 89% are not able. You see, it's going to be very dangerous when we're looking at these kids going to schools, because schools are targets. And you say, what do you mean going to schools? Well, folks, life goes on. People are being married, buried, having babies, going to school, birthdays. I know it's hard to fathom, but life does go on. And the kids need to go to school, even in this difficult time. Only 11% of the schools in Ukraine are able to facilitate online education. Now, folks, let's move to one of the big stories of the day, and that would be the grain deal. Yesterday, what we said was on Friday, today, the deal should be signed. Well, here's what we can tell you. The deal was signed, but folks, you've got to hear me. This turned into a circus. You say, okay, hold on now. I was watching the news and I didn't see it a circus. I saw that they signed the deal. Yes, they signed it. And I'm going to tell you what's in the deal. But even more important than that is what happened. So, well, what do you mean what happened? The mind games of war. You see, what was agreed upon was that agricultural ministers, meaning government people of Ukraine and Russia, would meet in Istanbul with Gutierrez, the United Nations, Erdogan, and that they would sign this grain deal. Well, that was the plan. So today, this morning, the United Nations shows up to sign in Istanbul. Erdogan and his Turkish representatives are there. The Ukrainian agricultural minister shows up. But who shows up for Russia? Not the agricultural minister. Who showed up? Abramovich and, drum roll, Shoigu. Ukraine was boiling. Now, it did not stop the signing. You said, come on, man, look, here's the signing. There's Erdogan, there's Gutierrez, and there's Shoigu. Shoigu signed the grain deal for Russia. Who signed for Ukraine? The agricultural minister, like they had agreed upon. It's head games. It is absolute head games. And what I can tell you is the Ukrainian and Russian representatives did not speak. They tried to not make eye contact. And there was not one handshake. There was not one document exchange. You see, Ukraine signed with the UN and Russia signed with the UN, and that was it. In fact, something interesting here. I want you to look at the flags. Look at the flags. Ukraine and Russia would not even allow their flags to be next to each other. And yes, this was all talked about. The United Nations flag is in the middle of Russia and Ukraine. The deal is signed. What's in the deal, I will tell you, but Russia was playing head games. So we have 3 ports that can be used, all in the Odessa region. That's Odessa, Chernomorsk, and Yuzhny. Daytime transport only. Blue line is Ukrainian sovereign territory, still under Ukrainian control. Red line is territory out of the Kherson Oblast, kind of reaching down into the Black Sea, that is Russian controlled. And the red circle, bottom left, is the bridge that Russia keeps striking. That is the outflow of the Dniester River. And of course, that's the river where our refugee camp is right now. So, what is in the deal? Podolyak came out and explained it for the Ukrainian people. He says Ukraine does not sign any documents with Russia. We sign an agreement with Turkey and the UN and assume obligations to them. Russia signs a mirror treaty with Turkey and the UN. No escort of transport on Russian ships in the presence of representatives in our ports in case of provocations and immediate military response. Did you get it? In case of provocation, immediate military response. Thirdly, all inspections of transport ships will be carried out by general groups in the water if necessary. Fourth, the deal involves the export of Ukrainian grain across the Black Sea from 3 ports, Odessa, Chornomorsk, Yuzhny. The export agreement is valid for the next 4 months, 30, 60, 90, 120, with the possibility of extension. Fifth, to monitor the process, a coordination center will be created in Istanbul. Who's watching the grain? Turkey. It will have to resolve any incidents if they occur. And finally, the full movement of ships to and from Ukrainian ports for the export of food may begin in a couple of weeks. Now, Ricochet, let's see here. Yep, you guys are on it. Beirut port rejects Russian ships with stolen Ukrainian grain. Wow. Beirut is starving. JDO says that. Yeah, that's tight. Well, we're going to see. I can tell you right now, remember what we discussed last night. The first thing we wanted to see was there were negotiations. The second thing, would there be a signing? Yes. Now, same thing Ukraine is saying. We have to see follow through. So within a couple of weeks, we should begin to see some movement, and we will see if this works or not. I hope it does. There's lots of nations, even as I showed you last night, in Eastern Africa that are starving. Now, title of the program tonight is Moldova Takes Center Stage in the War Talk. That is because Moldova is heating up. What do I mean by Moldova? Well, today, Russian soldiers attempted to cross the border into Moldova. They wanted to go to Chisinau. Now, I know you may be asking, what do you mean cross the border? I thought that Transnistria region is a part of Moldova. Well, it is, but it's a breakaway region. And I've been there. To cross, you do cross a border. There are checkpoints, and you have to show documents. Honestly, you have to treat it as a different nation. So this little strip, this Transnistria, you deal with it differently. So every time that I have been going in, and I'll show you here, we'll go here and I'll just show you. So this Transnistria region stretches right here, all the way down to the tip. There's Tiraspol. Now, how do I know it? Because when I'm traveling into Moldova, I'm coming in from Ukraine. And look, let me do this. So let's say I'm in Khmelnytsky, which that's where I'm at all the time, right here. The way I come is I come down to Kamenets-Podilsky, and then we cut across country to Mykolaiv-Podilsky. We cross the border right here. And then we come down through Baltsi and go down to Chisinau. Now, I have come in to Moldova through this route. And I've come through Podilsk. And we came through Transnistria one time. Never did it again. No fun. It was quite tight. So this region right here, and there's something specific I want to show you. Why Moldova is a big deal. It's because of this place right here, Kolbasna. That's the official name of it, Kolbasna, right here on the border. That is the largest munition dump in the world. It's all Soviet era, old, but it's a powder keg. It was reported, and even Moldova has said it, and other representatives said, if this was to go off, it would be like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. You know, it kind of interesting. You guys were talking about Beirut with the grain. Well, remember, not too long ago, what, 18 months ago or so, there was a munitions blown up in the port of Beirut. And what a disaster. This would make that look like a matchstick. So this is vitally important here along this border. So the story of the day is the Russian soldiers wanted to cross the border. Moldova refused them. Moldova said, no, you are not welcome in our country. Russian military, not welcome in our country. So instantly this afternoon, Tiraspol, the capital of the Transnistria, the breakaway region where the Russian military is, communicated with Moscow and said, listen, we want to be a part of you on a more official basis. There you have it. There's the invitation. I remind you, this is what happened in the east, in Lugansk and Donetsk, the breakaway separatist regions. They said, hey, we need your help. We would like somehow to partner with you and be a part of you. Well, you see where that has us now in 2022. Now the same thing is happening. So basically, as we have looked at before, if you look at the map, if that happens, and I'll just remind you guys here, basically right now from north of Kharkiv, down all the way across through here, and now this area wants, and of course Belarus and the Russian border. Things looking pretty rough. That is why I continue to say with the Transnistria, I think this is the line that Russia ultimately wants, including that Transnistria. Leave Moldova alone as a buffer, and they will control this and all the Black Sea. And Ukraine, you can be here. That's where I think this is going to end unless it goes deeper. We shall see. I hope not. I want everything to be returned to Ukraine. So the Moldova news is a big deal. It's even bigger than that. Why is it bigger than that? Official request recur. In fact, it's a cool little, it's not a cool little sign, but you can see there the hammer and sickle, the red star, and the name of that billboard is the Transnistria Moldavskaya Respublika. Transnistria. It's easier for me to say that word. Transnistria Moldavskaya Respublika. Basically, we are the republic, the breakaway region, and you see the hammer and sickle there. It's Russia, folks. It's Russia. And now the official request has come. What did Ukraine do? Budanov. Remember who Budanov is? He is the director of intelligence. This guy has not been released. This guy's good. Top shelf guy. He today, on behalf of Ukraine, committed to military assistance to Moldova in case there was a strike. If Moldova's dirt is touched by Russian military, Ukraine will respond. There you have it. Moldova comes to the forefront in this war. Very interesting. We've talked about Moldova since the beginning. We've talked about the Transnistria, and here we are day 149, and we see that this Transnistria region is becoming vitally important. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys tonight, I like to keep you updated on Mariupol. Got a couple of kids here, made a video. I got it translated today, and they're just trying to show Granny's house. Very interesting. These kids are trying to get the truth out from Mariupol, and we're going to help them get the truth out. Here, they're telling their story today.
Морской бульвар и направляемся к дому моей бабушки, которая раньше тут жила, когда еще все было хорошо, отлично. И сейчас мы покажем вам, как плохо стала ее квартира. Нас предупредил таксист, что здесь еще не разминировано, валяются мины, растяжки, что тут ходить опасно. Вот, ребята, что с домом моей бабушки. Да какой обход? Вы гляньте, а вот там вот тут за деревья закрытый подъезд. Вот это называется закрытый подъезд. Приблизись. Вы гляньте, ребята. Гляньте. Ля, тут люди пропадают, а они кошек ищут, вообще дауны. Вон, вот там вот тут, вон второй этаж, бабушкин балкон. Там вот тут, вы гляньте, машина. Дэн, ты хотел себе машину забирать?
Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. Мы вас обойдем. Давай аккуратно. Давайте лучше фонарик включу, подождите.
Просто чисто каркас и больше ничего.
Одна керамика осталась целая. Остальное все посгорало, даже металл. Там вон игрушки, значит, люди здесь вот в соседнем доме живут. Это 34-й дом.
Короче, ребят, мы подходим только к углу, но уже видно сразу, что дом плохо. Не знаю, но он, наверное, уже не будет. Он скончается.
А тут 15-я квартира здесь, скажете? 15.
Здесь была.
А вы здесь живете, да?
Да.
И что, и тут можно жить еще? А, вы на первом этаже, да?
Люди как-то сидят. Собаки. Еще видно костра.
There you have it. We'll get, every time I get a video, that's the same two little boys that were riding their bicycles around. They're trying to get the story out, and we're going to help them. Now, I did see the one question there, and we'll close with this. How many miles wide is it for reference? Okay, I can tell you. So, square miles of Transnistria is 1,600. For reference point, Rhode Island is 1,200 square miles. So, this is much longer than it is wide, as you can see, and that's my lines, but they're pretty close for reference point. At the widest, this is about 45 miles. Where you cross right here is only about 30 in the pinch, but running north to south, about 120 miles. So it's substantial. I mean, when you look at a big map of a big area, it's tiny. It's just, what's 25% bigger than Rhode Island? So there you have it. That's the size. Well, folks, you are fully updated tonight. Date number 149. As always, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. We do have our auction coming up. So tomorrow night, we will be here live with the update. Sunday night, we will be here live, but it will be a little different. Now, if there are important things that I need to update, we'll roll that in. But that'll happen regardless at 9 o'clock if we need to give an update, which we will. But we will be live streaming just so you can pop in or pop out on your Sunday evening and watch a lot of money be raised for Ukraine, and every penny will go there. So we thank you. And I think that's a great place to leave it tonight. Pray for Moldova. Great Christians there. We need them to join with Ukraine. They don't want Russia in their country. You are spot on. And I saw other chat in there. Romania, Moldova. Lot of cross relationships there. But of course, I'm talking to the expert there, Mr. Romania, Don Gentilini. So yes, you're right. Moldova, vital. It is a vital, important region, even as small as it is. Kind of reminds me of places like Israel. Tiny, but important. Transnistria, tiny, but important. And we'll see what happens. The pot's brewing. We'll be watching the grain. We'll be watching the battles. And we will continue to support Ukraine. Thank you guys for all that you do. May the Lord bless you and keep you tonight. Peace upon you. Peace upon Ukraine. We'll see you in 23 hours. Have a good night.